My crazy hands are back. Come on, Facebook. We're almost there. There we are, guys. We finally broke through and got through in the Facebook Live. Good to see you guys all for another week. I hope you guys are putting your heads down, hitting your goals, enjoying life along the way, and having some nice mix of biz and lifestyle where you get to do the things you want to do. Just a couple quick announcements before we get rocking and rolling this week. I've got 3 trainings that are sort of in the video pipeline that I think are going to be awesome for you guys. I brought in Matt McQuinn again from Coldlytics, and I wanted to show you guys like 50% of your success for real is just picking the right fucking clients in the first place. People who are real businesses, who have money, who appreciate what you do, who can use what you do, those kind of things. And so I wanted to show you this, what I think is the simplest, fastest, easiest, most direct way to identify all those people with like a couple clicks of a button. And then you know exactly like who to build your agency around. Also bringing in our man Chase Snow, showing you guys some really fancy pants, next level ClickUp automation. Chase is doing some really awesome stuff with a couple of our mastermind members and a few other agencies as well, where he's helping them to like basically like create wow experiences at scale, but using technology. So like when a new client signs up, you might have to get passwords for them. You might want to welcome. You might have to send information to employees. You might have to get access to passwords and things like that. Well, they're using ClickUp to automate that. So when a new client comes in, it's almost no extra work whatsoever. And then you can do like a whole lot more clients a whole lot easier. So I think you guys are going to be really interested. That's some next level stuff that you definitely have. I don't know where else you would have heard that before, so I hope that's some new breaking stuff. And then as well, Frankie Finn's going to be dropping a Frankie Finn special, which is what I call the front door, side door training. It's the idea that sometimes going in the front door when you run paid ads for your stuff is just really expensive. In fact, I'm looking at the questions we have today. There's one that's all about how expensive it is to get front door traffic, right? The person's like, I can barely get like 5 clicks a day at my prices. And I can relate to that because personal injury is super expensive. But often the side door, well, they buy other things. And I'll give you just one small example so you guys can wrap your head around this. So when you look for it, like in personal injury, like if you advertise pay-per-click for personal injury lawyer, it's $200 a click in most major cities. So like a lawyer, even with $1,000 budget a day, is going to get 5 clicks, right? There's not really a lot happening at 5 clicks, even though they're really targeted clicks. But you can buy that almost exact same click, that exact same person, if you can advertise in front of them, say like, well, they're at the car accident, right? If they're searching for car repair, like when people get in an accident, there's also a damaged car, they go one and one together. So that's just one example from my niche. I'll show you how to break it down because we figured out in the Wolfpack how to do this really in any niche. I'm going to just be transparent with you guys. I'm probably going to give you about 50% of the methodology and stuff that'll be really useful. And there's another awesome 50% after that. That's kind of I got to keep for our mastermind members. But I'll give you guys some really, really cool shit so you can buy some really, really cheap buyers traffic. So that's enough announcements. Let's get into the good stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Frankie Finn proudly brings to you our weekly Q&A. Cole, by the way, I saw your comment while I was ranting there, so I'm glad you're looking forward to that because I'm looking forward to sharing that with you, homie. Carlo's up first. So he says, I'm working with an Irish-based mortgage broker company who are looking to replace their current AdWords company. The reason is due to the company just providing a generic end-of-month report with no context as to what's actually going on with the campaigns, etc. So I'm tasked with finding a replacement for them. They just want a dedicated AdWords agency that does Google ads, and that's it. Here's the deal with that, Carlo. This is the reason I wanted to kind of comment about your comment is because so many people have this problem and it's in disguise. They don't know it because what they experience is like a tangible distrust between them and clients. And ask me how I know, because I had that for many, many years. And it's not what most people think it is. It's actually just a gap in the communication, not in your service itself. If that's happening to you, and how it showed up for me was like clients wanted lots of meetings, they had lots of questions, and they were quick to back out of deals and things like that, and you could just experience the lack of trust. And all it came from when I finally figured it out was that my end of the month report was not enough communication for them, and it was too confusing to even tell them what I was doing. And so I made this a whole lot simpler by just making little 2-minute Loom videos for clients. I'm like, here's what we've been doing this last month, here's why we're doing it. Here's how it's going, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And here's what you can expect next. Talk to you again later. And I found those to be so much more to the point and valuable to clients because then they understand like what you're actually doing. So in an SEO case, I would say, here's what we've been doing. We've been building all these articles and pointing them all to your site and blah, blah, blah. And it's slowly pushing it up the rankings. Obviously now it's probably more GMB, but and then I would tell them, here's why we're doing that, because your rankings are largely based on what's happening on other websites. So we're building that out right now. And I'd say, here's how it's going. On some of the main keywords we're watching, we've moved from like 20 to 15. It may not look like a huge move, but as long as we keep creeping in the right direction, we're going to win this. And then I might say, like, and here's what you can expect next. Next month, we're going to try and get from 15 to 12. I know that doesn't sound like a win, but again, we're just constantly creeping in the right direction. So that's my way of saying, you guys, if you do what most agencies do, which is radio silence for 30 days and then send like a generic, confusing, overly technical report, you will have clients who don't trust you, don't believe you, don't know what you're doing for them. And then ultimately they have to compare you to all these bad experiences they've had with marketing companies. So if you guys are experiencing that, I just wanted to show you that because it's a gap in communication, not in your service. So it's actually really easy to fix, which is just be like way more transparent about what you're doing and make sure you say it in like everyday fucking Joe third grade English, like not we changed your H1 title tags, blah blah blah, and it'll be like, check this out here, we went from here to here, isn't that good? So you want to show people like in plain English what you're doing for them, and you'll find clients to be a lot easier to deal with, and they'll leave you alone and have a lot less meetings. All right, Ahmed says, need help. I'm running a lead generation campaigns in 3 companies in home development niche. I use paid search with max CPC. Each client has $50 daily budget. Since the keywords are expensive, around $9 to $10 cost per click. When they get 5 clicks, their daily budgets are consumed in a couple hours and campaigns are not converting. What should I do? What would be your approach here? Thank you. Well, Ahmed, this is a little bit of a shameless plug, my answer, because I empathize with you. Front door traffic is fucking expensive, right? Like you're saying, $9, $10 a click. They got a $50 budget, which is not a small starting budget for a lot of these kind of companies, right? Like that to them represents a big investment. So they're spending, $1,500, $2,500 a month on ads, and you can barely buy like 5 clicks in that niche. So that's my way of saying the answer to that is really the side door is getting more of those clicks. And I would also like look at what are you actually offering on the page, because what most people are offering is just like, we're in business, so call us. Frankie Finn Construction and Company, established 1927. Here's some pictures. It's much better to say, hey, it's the perfect time to do kitchens, and we just got a bunch of extra tiles on sale. So we're running a special. You can get a brand new kitchen for $2,999, including materials. As long as your kitchen is within this kind of size and scope, we can do it for you. It's much better to have like some kind of tangible offer in there. So those are the 2 things I would look at. Is just look for like there's places where you can get cheaper buyer traffic. I know the Google's useful because it's really qualified, but if their budget is getting eaten up in about 5 minutes with 5 clicks, you're just not going to be able to move the needle enough. So I'll tag you in that firstly when that side door training comes in, but also a good offer will fix a lot of that as well. So those 2 things: get cheaper buyer traffic, have a good offer, the basics, my man. Manuel says, so the service I want to scale is GMB optimization for local businesses, which is a kind of low ticket, around $500 to $700 per month. We've been getting great results for clients, and now we want to scale it up. We also white label for other agencies. Since it's low ticket, what's the best way of automating the entire prospecting sales process? I'm getting 1 to 3 daily positive replies with cold email, but we can ramp that up. Our sending email addresses are cozy warmed up and sending without problems. How can I automate the process from that to get them to pay without having to jump on a call? Here's the thing, Manuel. A lot of times people think we've been told that we have to do a call because it's the only way you can sell like expensive shit, by the way. And I've seen $100,000 to $1 million services sold without a phone call. So the idea that it only works in certain price ranges is not true. What makes it work more than anything is understanding what a high-ticket consultative sales call is. And this is why I created this whole like 5-minute Loom video. I never realized so many people would catch on with that. But I mean, we've closed for like 3 years, I want to say now, in our agency without phone calls. And the secret is when somebody says, okay, I'm interested, we just send them a video and let the video do the selling. But what people think is this is not a replacement of a sales call. This is actually the 80-20 of a sales call. So I've mentioned this before, but when people are going through a sales call, there's certain milestones you're going to hit. There's 4 of them in particular. The first thing they want to know is they're just like thinking to themselves, like, what can this person do? They're trying to like figure out like what kind of results you can create for people. And usually, by the way, in a sales call, this takes about 45 minutes in my experience of like digging into their pain and all the shit that's not working in their life and getting their like woe is me story, and then, you know, when they're finally upset about their situation, and then you start to talk about the solution. But this is why, and I'll link for you on this training manual, why we have these things called dramatic demonstrations. Because if you can visually show a picture of the result you can create for somebody, you don't have to talk about it for 45 minutes because they get it in like 3 seconds, right? So there's a huge difference. Like, for example, if I say, I'm going to get you more sales, which is an abstract idea, which is what most people do, and showing a screenshot of an inbox with a bunch of payments in it, where you can go, oh, you're going to make my inbox look like that. I get it, right? So a dramatic demonstration eliminates like 45 minutes of a sales call. The next thing they want to know, once they've figured out like specifically what you can potentially do, it's now a more personalized question is like, will that work for me? So what we like to do in our Loom videos is just answer that right up front. This is ideal for people in these situations, A, B, and C. And a lot of people hide behind that, and then they get on people on sales calls that are unqualified anyway and would never be a good fit. So you can answer those 2 things in like 10 or 15 seconds. The third thing, and this is the longest part of the video, is their mind will shift from the what kind of result can I expect? Will this work for me? Now they want to know, like, how does it work? And what a lot of agencies make the mistake of is hiding behind their methodologies. They think people don't, like, it's got to be top secret. And this works really, really well on low-ticket stuff. The worst thing you can do on like a $7 ebook is give away your methodology in like the sales copy. But when you're selling a $7,000 a month service, they want to know exactly what you're going to fucking do. And there's a balance between this. You got to have like what I call the 30,000-foot view plan, where they understand what you're going to do for them. But it's not so detailed that like you lose them in the nitty-gritty of it. So, like, I'll give you an example. Like, when we sold our motorcycle stuff, which we kind of, like, are starting to move away from in our agency, it's like this. It's like, on Facebook, you can target motorcycle people. So here's an example. We target these people. We offer those motorcycle people a motorcycle book of what to do in case you're ever in an accident. Take pictures. Don't make a recorded statement. That kind of stuff. And then we send them to this page where they sign up for it. And then for a year, we send them emails and retarget those people for super cheap and invite them to come work with you as their motorcycle attorney. We know if we talk to 100 people, not all 100 are going to get in an accident, but statistically 1 to 2% of them will. And that's enough because these are really big cases and they're really expensive. And it's just a 4-step plan. So what you need is like a 3 to 5 step plan. Really simple, like we're going to claim your map listing, we're going to optimize it with pictures and words, and then we're going to build a whole bunch of things, and we're going to build some reviews. 4-step plan, right? So we don't want to make this like super, super complicated. Then the last thing they want to know is if you've gone through those 3 hurdles, they will, from here's the result we can create, here is who it's for specifically if you're in this situation, and then you can say, here's how we're going to actually get you that result, 1, 2, and 3. Now it's become logical. The next question in their mind goes to, how much? And most agencies like hide behind this number like it's a big mystery. You got to go through 90 minutes of sales call to fall. Like 99% of the agencies out there, you got to go through 90 minutes of phone calls just to find out how much their shit costs. But have you ever wondered just about something like, I'm just curious, how much is it? And if they hide from the price, you're not necessarily that interested that you want to go through a 90-minute hoop. So the other thing about videos is more people respond to videos because they'll scroll to the end and want to find out how much it is. And it's totally okay to do that. So we have a formula. I wrote about it in the book for how to like kind of present your price anywhere, anytime, any place. And it's really just contextualizing price with value. I've mentioned this before, but if you got a $5,000 car, it depends a lot on the value of the car, right? Like if it's a $250,000 brand new Porsche 911 Turbo, that's going to be a different value than if it's like a 1977 used Toyota, right? So it's not the $5,000 that matters to them. It's like what you're going to get. So you recap the money with the what you're going to get. And then what happens is you can just openly state your price without having to hide behind it. And then what happens is all you're doing is sending people a video. You're showing them like, let's skip the 45 minutes of call. Here's what I can do. Here's what I can do it for. Here's how I do it. And here's how much it costs. And if you're interested, you can just reply to this video. And the video does all the screening for you. So in your case, that's how I would do it in any market. We've tested it across multiple things. But it's really, like I said, it's just taking the 80-20 of a sales call, working that in. Brother, I was just ranting on you. I hope you caught that epic quality rant. Otherwise, I'll send you the replay because you were just up on that. Precious says, good day, fellas. I think the fastest way to get a reply is if I put it out here. I need everyone's insight on this one. Advice would be very much appreciated. Thanks, Frankie. Hope you're doing well. This is an email he sent to me. I just want to start my agency journey. My agency will specialize in YouTube ads, marketing for real estate brokers. I'm thinking of leveraging LinkedIn to get clients. My offer is they don't get 10 leads in a month. They'll get their money back. What do you think? Precious, the number one issue I see with most offers, and yours is guilty of it, and I'm going to just tell you how to fix it, is it's actually just not specific enough. Is we think it's specific, and it's really not. So in your case, like, what does 10 leads really mean? It's very different, like, if you say to a real estate agent, I'll get 10 people selling waterfront property to reach out for you if you're willing to spend $1,500 a month on YouTube ads. Right? So it's the meaningful specifics that you got to fill in. Like, and usually if you don't have the meaningful specifics, don't guess on these. Go to like a group or a discussion and like actually listen to your market. So that means like listen in on some real estate agent conversations and see what they're trying to do. See what kind of leads they want. See what kind of struggles they're having. And then point to those specific things in your offer. Chances are like your YouTube ads are probably very valuable to them. But if you can't talk about it in terms of a result that means something to them in their reality or a present problem that they have in their reality, it's not going to mean anything to them because it's a hammer. It's like saying to somebody who comes to you and says, I want to build a deck, and you said you need this hammer. If they're like me and they're not a handy person, they won't automatically connect those dots. So that's my way of saying you got to be able to visually show this is what I can produce in your reality. When you get it down to that point, you'll do better. And the best thing you can do to get there quicker is just listen to a few real estate agents because it'll make your life easier. Drew, my man. Hey, Frankie, trying to make the offer better. Aren't we all, by the way, Drew? That's a never-ending process. Right now, it's MVA leads, which smaller firms want cases. Larger firms can handle leads for $300, transfer for $1,000, but don't have the VA system built out yet for transfers. Drew, I mean, that sounds like a hell of an infrastructure you're building. A lot of times, by the way, I should mention this, like great offers are not necessarily built in a single leap and bound. Like a lot of times you figure out how to improve your service and improve your service and improve your service as you go, and your offer gets more valuable in the journey, and it sounds like you're doing that. And so, you know, if the truest test, if you just keep working an offer and keep trying to make it better for like a period of 30, 60, 90 days, you'll inevitably come up with something good. People are looking for usually like a lightning in the bottle, and it's not typically like that. It's like usually like, oh, my service would be even more valuable if I took this in, or my service would be even more valuable if I took this piece out, like if I removed a sales call for them. My service would become more valuable if I could do this faster. My service would become more valuable if I added this extra here. My service would be more valuable if I got them a free massage with it, whatever, right? So it's not generally done like in a single leap and bound. Once you understand that, like it sounds like you're on that journey. So kudos to you, man. We got JoJo up twice. Okay, so this is an example email. He says, subject line, quick question, Hillary, body, hey Hillary, love what you're doing at Sierra Classic. So I reached out because we recently launched the conversion machine, which promises to turn visitors to customers. I'd love to see if we can achieve the same for you. Don't worry, no payment needed, just a short testimonial once we're successful with you. Are you around this week for a quick 7-minute call? 7 minutes is awfully precise, my friend. I'm going to read part 2 of your question because they're both related. It says, updated, I recently posted my offer and using the review I got, tweaked a little bit. Here it is. We help construction companies generate more revenue by turning website visitors into paying customers. Feedback would be appreciated. Joe, I said it before, and the number one thing that we're guilty of when we're making offers is they're not specific enough. So we help construction companies. That's a good start, by the way. I bet you could even get more specific on that for which types of construction companies are most worth it for you to work with. But this is, I'll tell you, the number one mistake is people, when they can't point to a specific outcome that somebody wants in their business, they try and fill it with more, what I call just endless more leads, more customers, more sales, more. The problem with more is it's never really achieved. Clients don't know when you've been successful, even if you have something really good. It's not tangible, so it's not easy to sell, and 1,000 other asshole marketers have ruined it before you. So what you want to get specific at is actually where, like, what more looks like when it's done. It's way better to say, like, we could pop in 20 extra motorcycle leads this month and start working them for the next year than it is just to say, like, we can get more, endless amounts of more business, or we can get you motorcycle leads for $40 a piece. How many do you want? It's better to talk like that. And so part of it is your offer is just lacking those meaningful specifics. And it helps to just figure out, what are construction companies trying to get? Like, they want clients too. What kind of clients do they want? If you can help them get the kind of clients you want, you can have your pick of the kind of clients you want. So that's the first thing. Now, as far as the actual message, it opens with you. I like that it's casual. Hey, Hillary, that's cool. And then it says, love what you're doing at Sierra Classic. I see what you're trying to do here, which is you're trying to, like, give a compliment, like, get people to like you a little bit. I'll tell you, if compliments are fake or automated, they show. And then they actually have the opposite effect. So I'll give you an example of this. The most commonly used example, like, if I see 10 cold outreach messages, like 8 of them start, hope you are doing well. No, you fucking don't. You don't even know me, right? I know you just, like, copied and pasted some shit that sounded good, and you've seen a lot of other people use it, so you assume it's working. It does not. So when you're doing, like, the hope you're doing well, it actually makes me think, fucking liar, right? Like, before you've even said anything nice. As where, if somebody gets something specific where they say something like to me, where somebody says, hey, like, dude, I read your book and, like, fuck, you changed my life. Like, I know that's specific because, they mentioned my book by name, right? So that's my way of saying, if you're going to give compliments, make sure they're real and specific. Don't just say, I love blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm kind of doing a little test partnership with a real estate guy right now on something. And the more and more I looked at his stuff, the more and more I genuinely liked it. I'm like, this is so useful for, like, the movers and shakers. Like, I get what you're doing here. And so I said that to him. Like, I checked out this, I checked out that. Like, you got nothing but good shit here. I'm impressed. But that's when I'm naming his specific babies, his course, his materials, his things like that. It's not a generic compliment, right? So that's my way of saying, just get out a generic compliment, get specific about, or just skip it altogether. If you can't find a genuine, what I try to do, by the way, is not give compliments. I try to comment on what's happening in their life. So I might pull them up on social media, see what they've been up to the last couple of posts, or if I can't find that, I'll click the About Us on their website, see who they are, and, like, if I'm dealing with a lawyer, I might say, hey, dude, just was checking out that you built your firm 30 years ago with your partner, and you guys went to the same college, and you were dorm room buddies. That's quite the story you got there, my man. What's up, Carlos? So, Joe, that's my way of saying, like, it's better to comment on what's going on in their life and not try to give them phony baloney compliments. And then this is the part where the offer and the messaging isn't clear. Again, I mentioned this before. When you're selling low ticket, curiosity and mystery and intrigue and not telling people how you're going to get them a result is extra sexy, right? If I say, like, for $3, I'm going to show you how to buy real estate for 10 cents on the dollar. It's better that I don't tell you how it works in a $3 book. But if you're joining a $30,000 mastermind, you want to know how that shit works, right? So the stuff you're doing works really well in low ticket, but it doesn't work in this kind of thing. And so you want to be just really, really clear, like, what you're going to do to convert a website visitor, what kind of people you're going to get, how many of them, right? It's way better to say, like, if you're getting 20 website visitors now who don't convert, I can bring one of those people back and sell them a blank of your thing. What do you think about that? So in your case, like, just dial down on those specifics and your stuff will get tighter. And the best thing you can do to do that is go listen in on some construction company conversations, because they'll tell you what they're trying to do. We got a part 2 from Drew here. I just missed that. Yeah, we've kept leads for now, but definitely feeling like just another lead provider, especially when trying the Loom outreach. Most prospects think the initial cost is too much, so getting a lot turned down from the Loom where they're just stating the offer any advice. Yeah, this is where it's actually more important, Drew, to be different than to be better. And like, it sounds like you got some really, really cool shit. So either one of two things is you got to highlight the difference of what you're doing in those live transfers. But what I would do, and this is just one way to solve the problem, is just focus on a specific type of lead that nobody else is bringing them. And so, like, you're already generating these motor vehicle accident leads. Within that spectrum, there's going to be all kinds of things. Like, lawyers will tell me there's some motor vehicle accidents where they touch bumpers at the mall, nobody's hurt, nothing really happened, but they got to fill out some insurance forms, right? Like, that's not really a desirable case for some of those people. But then there's those, like, all kinds of other things that they get in there. Are they seriously hurt? Where is it a 3-car accident? Like, they can be specialized in the 3-car accident. So I would just ask them, like, of any of these leads we're bringing you, like, are there ones in particular that, like, if we just brought you only those, like, this shit would be even cooler for you? And chances are nobody else is doing that. And so, like, you could probably carve out, like, a super awesome niche just selling a desirable lead type, and it would be just like a minor twist. But it's just a thing that, like, it's better to be different than good. Like, in our niche, there's an agency that's basically a virtual assistant staffing agency that doesn't sound like one. And what they do is for law firms, they can answer the phone really well from 9 to 5. But if somebody calls at 6 o'clock or calls on a Saturday or whatever, which they get those calls, they don't usually have coverage. And so this company provides people who will answer the phone. They're called Alert Communications. Now, if I had to guess, Alert Communications is probably a $100 million agency. And they're kind of, from what I hear most lawyers say, yeah, they're okay. They're better than nothing. But the reason why they do so well is because they're the only ones who do what they do. So that's my way of saying for you, you got to think about that a little bit deeper and just how can I be the only one who does me? So either that means you got to make a big deal out of the little things that you do different already, or you got to find out, like, carve out a niche within there that nobody else is tapping. But you want to get out of they can even put you in a box in the first place. Because once they can't put you in a box, then, like, they'll entertain a far lot more number of your conversations. But if they feel like you're the 50th lead person who reached out this week, they're going to treat you accordingly. And that's just kind of, unfortunately, how that goes. So figure out how to stand out from the noise, my friend. That'll make your life a lot easier. Manuel says, great tips, man. So here's my question. My service is using GMB optimization for clients. I usually charge $1,800 for a 3-month package. I'm thinking about just charging $500 to $600 per month. So how can I automate the sales process with SMS email? I feel like it's a low ticket. Shouldn't be hard to sell. Oh yeah, I actually copied and pasted that too, Manuel. All good. So we'll come back to that, I guess, in a minute. I'm gonna give just a couple other people, since I already did kind of answer that, and then I'll send you the recording, and then I'll come back to it in a minute. Derek says, client, can I have a list of references? Me? Sure, we have a list of over 300 clients we've worked with in the past decade. I'll share the list with you, and you can tell me who you'd like to reach out to, and I'll ask their permission to make an introduction and share the contact info. Me? Can I have a list of agencies and freelancers you've worked with for a reference? What do you guys think about asking clients for reference to whom they've worked with? We want to make sure they're a fit for us as much as we're a fit for them. I don't get asked this question often, but when I do, it makes me want to ask for references. There's a lot to unpack there, Derek. I think, firstly, by the way, that approach is fucking hilarious. Like, client asks you for references. Can you give me some references of people you've worked with? And I think in a lot of times you'd find out that they weren't actually good clients. But having said that, if these are the right kind of clients for you, at least some of them I would think there's a tangible distrust in your sales process if people are asking for that. And it's important to isolate, by the way, who they don't trust. Sometimes it's you just as the marketer, and something about your presentation has triggered something in them. But often the actual person they don't trust is themselves. And so I like to just be honest and call that out. I might just say, like, hey, Mr. So-and-so, like, and I usually do this over text, but I just say, hey, Mr. So-and-so, like, I'm feeling a little bit of distrust by the question. Like, it's a very valid question, but I think, like, maybe something earlier was out of line. Can I just ask you, like, which one of us is it you don't trust right now, me or you? And because often what will happen is it's actually their own ability to make a decision. And sometimes, like, in just certain niches, like, I see this a lot in professional services, accountants, engineers, architects, lawyers, doctors, like people who, like, kind of are more white collar. is they're super risk averse as a general thing. And so a lot of times they're just afraid of making a mistake, and it has nothing to do with you and your service. And so a lot of that isn't, the answer to that isn't, I'll send you references. It's like, well, how about we just try it for 30 days? And if at the end of those 30 days you tell me, like, I wouldn't rehire you knowing what I know now, then I'll just give you your money back for the 30 days. And if you like it, we can just continue on and keep doing more of it. But, like, we don't have to make that decision today. How does that sound? If it is the right kind of client, that's a very, very important asterisk to put on that. But having said that, your approach is fucking just straight up funny, dude. Because you're right, like a lot of clients are just serial. I hear from like certain lawyers, they go, I've fired the last 7 agencies. They're all terrible. They're all shit. Like those are signs like, do not work with that person. You will not be the hero the 8th time around. There's usually a reason that everybody's a bad fit for them. Grant says, I just had one of my first consultation discovery call, and I got through the first half of the call where I was asking about her business. However, as a rookie salesperson, she turned the table on me and wanted to know how I did my lead generation. I ended up telling her exactly how I did my lead generation, and once I did, the conversation pretty much came to a closing point. I think she was just doing research on how I do it. However, I'd love to get some input on how to deter away from spilling the beans on how I operate, or if when they ask, I should explain. Please comment and advise how to deal with this. It was kind of difficult as her tone of voice was really like, I don't care about anything but how you do what your agency does. How can I manage to avoid and continue on with this in the discovery call? Grant, there's lots of ways to not do calls at all, but I think it helps in your stage to kind of like just, hang your shingle, get your practice reps in. Having said that, by the way, when the conversation pivots to how does it work, like how do you do your lead generation, it is a mistake to think that they're trying to steal your shit. I'm going to take your shit and use it for myself. I'll tell you, I'm not saying that never happens, but most business owners are far too busy with their thing to want to steal your thing. What they're really asking is how does it work, because I need to like wrap my head around it and see it logically so that I can believe you. And so what most people do is try and hide but you actually want to have like a clear 3 to 5 step believable plan. And the way that I always say it's what we're charging for is not the plan. What we're charging for is the implementation of the plan, which is far, far harder to do. Like I can tell you how to run motorcycle campaigns for a lawyer. It's a lot of fucking work and a lot of management, right? Like, yeah, we've got a system, but you're paying me to get that implemented for you. I could give you the whole system and you would say, can you just do it for me? So don't hide behind that. What I'm telling you is it sounds like from your question, it's implied that they're like trying to get the free info out of you so they can go use it. And actually, more than likely what was actually happening is they were trying to see, they were actually interested in your stuff and just trying to figure out how you do it. And they were feeling you out to see whether or not you could actually do this, right? Like, I'll give you an example. Like Christian from our mastermind was putting together a restaurant offer, and he was getting them like, his offer is basically like, I'll bring in big birthday parties. If you guys know anything about restaurants, birthday parties often have like 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 people. So they're big orders for restaurants, right? They make a lot of money off of those people, and they're often having a good time. So they're spending money, they're drinking, whatever. So the restaurant owner already wants the thing. When they ask for like, how does it work? They're not asking to like, I'm going to take this and go run with it. They're saying like, this needs to sound real to me, right? I want birthday campaigns, but like, I've never heard anything like that. How does it work? So he's like, well, you got an email list of people. 1 out of 12 people in that list are having their birthday this month. We're going to give them a free appetizer and say, come on in for a birthday. And we'll give you a free appetizer. And of course, they bring all their friends and family, and they pay at full price. And that's how we're able to get these big birthday parties. And all you got to do is give a free dessert or a free appetizer or something like that. You open to doing that. So in your case, it sounds like the objection is your believable plan. So my answer is figure out your believable plan and how to present it, and the next person won't give you that resistance. But my way of saying is it's not really resistance. They're actually curious and interested in what you want to buy. I would say 9 times out of 10, they're asking because they want to know whether or not you can actually do what you say you're going to do. And so it needs to sound real and believable and talk like somebody who's done this 100 times. Right? Like if I'm asking a roofer, like how are you going to fix the roof? It's not because I want to go fix my own fucking roof. I just want to know he knows how to fix it. Well, I'm going to rip this off, I'm going to put that out and put a little piece there, and then we're going to hammer down some new shingles, and when it's all done, it'll match and it'll look brand new. All right, you're hired, right? But if he says, what do you want to know? Like, why do you want to know how I'm going to fix it, right? Like, suddenly he's standoffish. Now I'm like going to back out of that deal. So, yeah, exactly. You can target perpetual birthday people. Manuel's got the money. So chances are, like, don't try and hide from that objection. Just think about next time how you can have like a better answer for it. So like for me, like I a lot of times, like, people don't realize they're giving a bad answer to the question, and that's why they're getting resistance, and chances are you gave a bad answer to the question. So like, for example, I got consulted one time for a law firm. It was my buddy, and he was in a pissing match where he was working for a bankruptcy lawyer. He was generating him a gazillion phone calls, and the firm was insistent every single one of these phone calls are garbage leads. They're unqualified. They're not really serious about doing a bankruptcy. And he said, these guys are fucking terrible at the phone. Can you listen to some calls and give them some professional advice? So I got on, and I listened to every call, and every call was the same. The person said, how much was bankruptcy, or how much is bankruptcy, right? Like, people are going bankrupt. They don't have money. It's very top of mind. So the first question out of their mouth is how much, and they were giving the most lawyerly answer possible, which is, it depends. And when they said the person said, it depends what you got going on. So every single person I list on every phone call hung up the phone and said, well, I got to talk to my cousin, uncle, brother, sister, father-in-law. I'll call you back. And they didn't call back. And so the firm took this as they're all bad leads. And what we figured out is if you just had a good answer to the question, in this case we said, well, your typical average bankruptcy costs between $1,200 and $1,500, depending on how much stuff you got in your whole situation. I can't tell you that over the phone until we break down what you got going on. And just so you know, what we typically do is we work with your creditors to lower your payments, and we take our stuff on payment plans, which means your payments will lower with us, not increase. We will save you money, not cost you money. And if you're interested right now, we have a free consultation. Would you like us to come in and break down your situation, see if we can be helpful for you or not? Right? You see, when you give a different answer to that same question of like, how are you going to do what you do? It's a much better situation. So that's my way of saying improve that answer. The objection will take care of itself, and you'll get further into the sales process, and you'll get to the money conversation. As far as you, Manuel, I'm going to send you some links to some trainings. We've got a training that we've done on how to do these Loom videos and convert, as well as what I call the dramatic demonstration, which is, to me, the most important piece for eliminating so much of a sales call. So when you can just show a picture of what it looks like in the client's experience, what you're going to create, like what result for them. And then without so many words, you don't have to say anything, right? So like sometimes it's a picture of the problem, sometimes it's a picture of the result. But once you get that down, your whole thing gets easier. You can just show them, this is what I'm going to do for you. This is who it's for. Here's my plan to get it. Here's how much it costs. If you would like to order that, I would tell you, if you do it like that, 9 times out of 10, the only question you'll ever get after that, which you won't get super often, is, hey, here's my situation. Do you think it'll work in my situation? And you can close those deals right over video. And the other cool thing is, like, yeah, it's exactly like a mini VSL. It's actually like a mini sales call. It's the 80-20. Like, I started to realize after you do hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of calls, some not successful, some successful, is you realize there's certain milestones and there's certain information you're going to get. So I'll give you an example of this. I was taught a methodology of sales calls where you spend 10 minutes or so getting rapport so that like you like each other and you're on the same page. And then you go into like, let's talk about your worst problem in life or your biggest business problem or whatever. And then what would happen is you're kind of trained to make people feel bad. I didn't like always doing that. But at the end of that, what I realized is all we're doing is we're taking a general idea of this problem and this solution they want and getting specific on what the problem looks like and what the solution will look like. And when you can do that whole thing in a picture, you need 3 seconds of that sales call instead of 45 minutes. So when you do that, like when you can just show people a picture, by the way, this is why I got a fancy new vision board behind me, and I do this in real life. Everything that I'm working towards, I put as a picture. Now, I shouldn't say this is all like entirely woo-woo because it's backed by a whole bunch of implementation as well. But I put pictures of things. I need to be able to see it in my own mind. This is not just like a technique to be used on other people, but it'll make your sales infinitely more effective, especially in your case. You mentioned you got some good people you're doing this for already. So the first thing I would hit them with a visual of like, I took a company in this situation from that to that. If you're in a similar situation, here's how we do it. And here's how much it'll cost. And you'd be amazed you can close that. But I'll send you those trainings. They go into much more detail about what those look like so you can kind of see examples, because with examples, it makes it a lot better. And by the way, it's not just because it's a $500 service, because you can sell $100,000 services this way. In fact, the first time I watched there was a guy in front of me who did like a $3-4 million webinar in the legal space. I was just attending the webinar as part of like the company hosting the webinar. And he was like kind of an affiliate kind of deal coming in. But I was pretty blown away because the webinar had no content. It was all offer. It was short. It was to the point. And at the end of it, $3 million worth of lawyers bought a shit. And it was really, really simple. He said, I worked in TV for 10 years. I know how to run lawyer commercials that get phone calls. I'm willing to take on all the risk. You pay me $10,000. I go buy the media. I put the commercial on. We already use our own working commercial, and we just put your phone number in it. It's a little boring, cheesy commercial, but it fucking works. We license it out to you. Right now, we got a package of $10,000, or for $10,000, you can get 100 phone calls. And then all the questions were like, can I see your commercial? Can I use mine? Can I use my number? Will it work for me? And then at the end of it, he did like $3 million in sales. And I've also seen that same guy, by the way, do like a $100,000 offer straight over video. It's the value you're getting. So his offer was, if you're buying more than $1 million worth of TV ads, I'll come in as a consultant. I know how the TV companies like keep their stuff, their remnants and their cheap leftover shit. I'll make you a better deal. We'll show more ads for less cost, and I'll save you $1 million in a year, or I'll save you at least half of your bill in a year. And for that, I charge $100,000. That doesn't require a phone call. So really, if you can make the offer valuable, you can do those sales script milestones. There's no need for a call. Calls suck anyway. Most of a call is like, to me, I don't know. I always hated doing sales calls. And like, even though the worst thing is being good at them too, because then you kind of like, it's not easy to replace yourself at the level you do it. But they're just not fun, and they're a waste of fucking time. And this is what I've talked about this before, but one of the real keys in your agency that, you know, especially we've been helping our Wolfpack members to do, is to change your leverage of income to energy, right? Like sales calls work, and I see all these people selling booked appointments, but sales to me now, using video for 3 years, are far more energy efficient. When somebody says I'm interested, I just go, okay, here's a video. And if you watch that video all the way through and you're still interested in working together, let me know. That's it. That's our sales process. And I either get a, sorry, bro, I'm not ready yet, not for me, or, you know, will this work in my situation? Or most times they just go, all right, sounds good. I paid it. Now what? Right? So it's a much more fun way to do calls, I think. But the real key is it builds your agency around being energy efficient, which means the amount of money you can earn per energy invested is much, much higher, right? Like when I used to do, like, there were times where I remember having like 8-10 sales calls a day. And anybody who's ever done those like 8-10 sales calls back to back, they're draining as fuck. You're listening to everybody like tell you all their worst bits of life, and if you do them, you hear the same shit over and over. So there's no reason you can't put a video in place. I'll send you those trainings. But when you do it that way, it's really, really simple, and it just follows the process that you're normally doing on the sales call milestones. But because we're doing it in video and we're doing it preemptively, we're hitting those guideposts like a lot faster. Instead of like 45 minutes for them to tell you what's going on, you know from having talked to 3 of them what they're already going to say, and you just show them visually what you can do, and the whole thing gets easier. So, all right, my man. By the way, I'm going to soft sell you, or anyone else, the new book, because I do talk about building the energy efficient machine. I think that's the thing that's missing from most people's lives, to be honest, because I wrote about this, the More Beach, Less Laptop agency. I've seen a lot of people who have really fantastic from a financial point of view agencies, but from a management and time and energy, they're terrible. Like, you can be miserable, stressed out, clients on you all over today. And I only know that because I built my first agency was entirely an energy inefficient machine. I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't know about hiring. I didn't know about expectations. So I put 15 years of that shit in there. It's like less than $10 on Amazon, I think. The Kindle version is anyway. I think that one's like maybe $12. I put it super low, so check that out. And if you search the group, if those options aren't on the table, there is a free PDF that I searched in the group. Yeah, it's thick, but it's big font. I like big readable font, so you don't have to like squint when you're reading. So it's not necessarily like a huge mountain of a read, but if you're running an agency, it's to me the best book for building a lifestyle out of it. Anyways, hope that's helpful to you guys. I'll post some links to you, or actually I'll post the links below and tag you, Manuel, because I think some other people would be interested in the Loom training as well. Actually, let me just write it here as a comment, because it's probably easier just to do that. But if you're looking to go phoneless, there's nothing held back in these trainings. It's just like step-by-step how to get the fuck out. Free Loom training. There we go. By the way, the magic isn't purely the video. It's the format of the video. It actually works in text as well. We sometimes do it over text in like a Google Doc. And yes, white label is cool shit, my friend. I built my first agency white label. I didn't know about all the delivery and fulfillment challenges, but we probably went from like 0 to 100 clients in under 6 months, which was like fucking crazy, and I don't recommend it. But you can grow an agency to 100 clients in like 6 months. And my first agency did that primarily with white labeling. And it was a pretty amazing experience, at least from a sales perspective, because 3 to 5 times a week, somebody would just, I just get an email. We signed such and such client. Your payment's in your inbox. Let's get going. So it was nice because I just wanted to do SEO in those days, but it was a little bit too crazy growth that I was not prepared for. Anyways, that's enough rambling from me. I hope you guys, just a little heads up for you guys who missed the intro. I mentioned we're going to be dropping some trainings in this week. I brought on Matt McQuinn. That's in the pipeline. Showing how we get all the buyers in a niche. Like if you can identify, like 50% of the battle is just knowing what makes a good client, identifying them. If you can do that in like 2 clicks, which we're going to show you you guys how to do, you'll make your prospecting life a lot easier. Mostly with the people you don't waste time with that would never make for good clients anyway. Like, I know if I'm dealing with a single lawyer who's never spent a penny on ads and has grown 40 years from word of mouth, he's probably a good lawyer, but he's a bad marketing client. So, we just don't make offers to those people and save ourselves a whole bunch of headaches and energy efficient prospect. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that in a couple clicks. I brought on Chase, how to automate fulfillment sides. This is some really cutting edge stuff. Actually blew my mind a little bit. I mostly heard about it because we have a bunch of mastermind members that are trying out his shit right now and automating mostly like onboarding and like basic like the first 30, 60, 90 days so they can deliver these wow experiences for clients, but they happen automatically through ClickUp and automation and tools. You get their passwords, you welcome them, you send them a video, whatever you need, all that can be automated. So it's a little bit like Lego. It's hard to fully wrap your head around because Lego can be anything you want to build, but we tried our best to show you guys some cool examples of what you can do with it. And then Frankie Finn's going to be dropping what I call the front door, side door trading, which is getting buyer leads at 10 cents a piece, especially for you guys like me who are in expensive ass niches where pay-per-click can be like $200 a click. It's hard to build a test budget for advertising when you can go broke in like, fucking 10 clicks in some niches, right? So what we want to do is make it so it happens so like you guys can get tons and tons of traffic for cheap, and it's just catching people at a different stage. I gave the one example, but I always call it dinner and a show. Sometimes if your business is like a show, advertising to people who are looking for a show is sometimes crazy expensive, but advertising to those same people when they're at dinner, sometimes like 10 cents on the dollar. Sometimes it's 1 cent on the dollar. You can get that exact same traffic a step before or a step after, a whole bunch cheaper. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that. Come in the side door. There are 7 side doors that I've figured out. And I'll show you guys at least a couple cool ones so you can go in and get your own cheap traffic. So we shall talk soon, my friends. That's all I got for you. 49 minutes is enough for you guys to listen to me. See you guys again next week, and may the force be with you.